There we go, my man Franco. Thanks for coming on. Really appreciate it. We'll just get into where you're from, man.
Well, first, thanks for the invite, man. Pleasure to be here. I come from South America, Peru, and I came here about 14 years ago. 13, 14, you kind of forget after the fifth.
Yeah.
And yeah, I came here just to learn English, and I noticed that I really like this country, so I stayed here.
Come with your family?
No, actually by myself.
Wow.
When I was 21, by myself, a little bit of a rebel, and didn't know what to do, I guess, and just wanted to learn a second language. And I came to Australia. I wanted to actually send a CV, an email to 3 countries: Australia, England, and America.
Yeah.
And I was saying, well, the country that replies to me first, that would be the country that I'll go. So wow. Obviously Australia did.
Here you are, 14 years later.
That's right, yeah.
So we met at a barista course. Actually, I came to my work, you did a barista course. And at the time I was off coffee. Remember I told you I wasn't drinking it? I think I was about 2 weeks in.
You did, yeah.
I lasted another week after that, and then I gave in. Too many headaches and it's getting a bit moody, so I'm back onto coffee. But no, I found you really interesting. You knew everything about coffee from what it seems. So start off, what's your earliest memory of coffee? Sorry, that's my daughter you can hear in the background.
No problem. I've got a daughter too.
Oh, do you? How old?
Yeah, I do. She's turning 2 soon in
oh, really?
November the 30th.
Wow, mine's December 6th. She's turning 3.
Oh, beautiful, man. Yeah. It's a stage, eh?
Yeah. How you finding it? It's your first?
It's my second, actually. I got 2. My first boy, my big boy is 6.
Yeah.
Well, actually almost 6, and my daughter's turning 2. So
nice.
Yeah, 5 and 1.5. Yeah, it's beautiful, man. You know, it's beautiful, but very, very challenging and tiring sometimes, as you know.
I guess the 9 o'clock time was kind of good then for both of us.
It's good, man. You're a young dad.
Yeah. Started when I was 18.
That's good.
I had a.
It's good, man. You're gonna have a lot of energy for which is good.
I hope so. That's the plan.
That's right.
Yeah. So, when was your earliest memory of coffee?
That's an interesting question. I started drinking instant coffee when I was, I would say 9 or 8. Wow. It's cultural in South America. Yeah, we do start drinking coffee at an early age with a lot of sugar, 3 kilos of sugar.
Yeah. That
is cultural too. There's a lot of sugar that South America consumes.
Which part of South America, sorry?
Peru.
Peru, yeah. And they have instant coffee there. I thought they'd be a bit too proud, like you were telling me.
You would say, right? Like that's the thing about South Americans. So this specialty coffee industry that we call it here is just a small percentage of what usually people drink. And it is growing in South America, not as big as Australia. Australia is pretty big, and same in Europe is growing too, but it's not really like this country. We're pretty spoiled on coffee.
Yeah, really.
And when you go to South America, you gotta look for the specialty coffee shops, which are few, not many. But we have the source, which is coffee itself. But what Australia does is Aussies, they go to South America or Africa or other parts of the world where they grow specialty coffee, and they tell them how to treat it, how to plant it, how to process it. So
can we not grow it here?
Yeah, Australia grows coffee, but it's not as, let's say, rich in flavor as other countries because of the altitude. The altitude affects a lot on the flavor, and Australia doesn't have that altitude, unfortunately. the altitude that we're talking about is maybe 1,000 meters above the sea level.
And what's like average
and
here?
so on. I would be below 1,000 meters.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Yeah. So that's the thing, right? The altitude, and it could be 1,200 or 2,000. Some places in South America, Asia, or Africa, they're pretty high altitude. So what happens is, and not many people know this maybe, but the higher the altitude, the less caffeine the plant is going to produce.
Okay.
And what's caffeine? When caffeine, it's a natural repellent. It's a chemical, right? That the plant produces in order to avoid pests, insects, things like that. So if the altitude is pretty high, there's going to be naturally less insects or pests because it's high, cold. So the plant produces less caffeine, which is less bitterness. That caffeine itself tastes pretty bitter, and a lot more flavor. So bitterness goes down and flavor goes up. That's basically why.
Caffeine is made because it wants to protect itself from the insects, and then we use that as like a drug.
Pretty much.
That's
crazy. Exactly. And that was discovered in Ethiopia, you know. I don't know if you know the story, but a farmer noticed that his goats and animals started drinking these coffee cherries, and they were pretty crazy at night time, and they couldn't sleep or something like that. So they did a study there, and they noticed that, you know, this plant, this coffee cherry, had a lot of caffeine, this chemical that would keep you awake, and they started using it in America, I think in the 50s or 40s, I would say. It was well known in the Arab world for a long time, but it went to America, and America spread it to the world.
Yeah. In the 50s and the 40s.
Correct.
Not that long ago.
That's where. Yeah, exactly. And that's where, you know, companies noticed that by giving the workers coffee, they would be more productive, you know, because of the caffeine. It was just a boom back in the day. And that's where they introduced this coffee break, I think, just for them to get some coffee and go back to work to be a lot more productive.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
It's a bit of a marketing strategy.
What do they call it? It's like how the lunch break or something started. It was, I think I heard on a podcast, they were telling their customers, "Oh, we've got this coffee for you," but it was really to increase the efficiency in things, from the business standpoint.
That's correct. That's correct. And, you know, definitely companies were pretty smart because their workers were a lot more productive for them, which, you know, was making more money for them. Yeah.
I want to get into the origins and how it's made soon. I just want you to explain, what do you do for a living?
So I'm a coffee trainer in a company called Black Market Roasters.
Mm-hmm.
And the company's in Marrickville too. We supply coffee to about 30 to 31 accounts in Sydney.
Yeah.
And I'm on the training side. I train baristas, people that want to make coffee, coffee owners, people that want to get into the industry, etc.
How long have you been doing that?
Being a trainer, I would say 5 years, 4.5. And in the coffee industry in general, over 10 years. Yeah,
that's quite a long time. What do you like about it?
It's the culture. Well, you get to drink coffee for free all the time.
Yeah.
That's, you know, that's always there. And
how many do you drink a day?
Yeah, I think, because, look, people will be surprised, right? But I don't drink milk, or not as much. Otherwise, I'll be really full. But I drink espressos or long blacks. And espresso is just a little drink, right? It just goes really fast. So I don't really count that many. But once I did it, and it happened to be 8.
Out.
Yeah. But if the question was if it was 8 lattes or 8 flat whites, I couldn't do it because it would be too much milk. You know, every latte would have the same espresso.
I remember when you were training us, it was like you're testing making sure the dosage was right, the water was coming out the right speed, and you were just tasting every shot down, down, down. If that was alcohol, you'd be gone.
I think true. I think it's because it's already in my system.
Yeah. So how about
it's
like a normal weekend day where you're not working?
Oh yeah, actually, that's a great question. I drink less actually. I could have 2 shots or maybe a long black and that's it.
That'll get you through.
Yeah, that's a great. Yeah, during work, I drink a lot because
Yeah.
it's there and the machines are there.
So you came to Australia about 14 years ago, you said, and 10 years in the coffee industry. What got you into it?
Hospitality. I started working in hospitality.
Yeah.
Well, the first jobs that I had was in construction, and yeah, it was pretty cool and good money. But I really wanted to learn English. I realized that I wasn't really talking that much with people, interacting with people. So I had this advice from someone that I should maybe start hospitality and where I'm gonna interact more with customers. So I started in hospitality as a waiter, and yeah, having a look at the barista, how they make coffee, and then this Aussie coffee culture really impressed me. And yeah, I just wanted to learn how to make coffee and asking baristas, teaching me little by little. And then you will laugh. There was this job opportunity in the city a long time ago, and they wanted a barista, and I went there, and the guy goes to me, "Oh yeah, you make coffee?" And I say, "Yeah." I had never ever touched a coffee machine in my life.
You just watched it.
And then he goes, "Well, yeah, come back tomorrow at this time, 7 o'clock." And I went there, and it was horrible. It was horrible. Like I would kick myself out. But the guy was very nice. He said to me, "Man, just stay, as a waiter. Just but you'll be the backup. So sometimes you'll make some shots. The barista will teach you because they really needed someone." Eventually, the barista, left, and I was the one who replaced him. So I was the barista there. And then my career as a barista, let's say, started from there in the city.
Yeah, that's where it all started.
Oh yeah.
You reckon you'll stay in it for quite a long time, coffee industry?
I think so. So far, it's fulfilling me. So
just watching you train,
it's not only
looks so natural.
Yeah, I really like sharing knowledge, and but it's not only that. It's I mean, coffee is the bonus, but I think what I really like is interacting with people.
Yeah.
I met you because of coffee, and I meet people every single day from different backgrounds through coffee. So is that a space that really connects us?
Yeah, that's the beauty of it. So yeah, like I said, I want to get into the origins of coffee. You said it was made in South America, Ethiopia. How is it made? So I know you got the coffee beans, but what's the very start? It's the plants.
Yeah, so there's coffee in all over the world: Asia, South America, Africa, Asia. Australia grows coffee too, as I said to you before, and Byron Bay, Queensland, Cairns. Now it's a coffee plant that has fruits. It's a coffee cherry. It's similar than a grape. So once you open it, once you depulp it, you take the fruit of the seed, then you have those coffee seeds. So if you didn't know the actual word, coffee seeds, we all call it coffee beans.
Yeah.
And I think it's just because historically it looks like a bean, and we all started calling it like a coffee bean, but it's an actual seed from the cherry.
Okay. Do people eat the cherry?
Yeah. Oh, that's a good question. Some farmers use it as a fertilizer, and some others started making tea out of it, and in some others they just chuck it out. Yeah. So there's many processes, in order to treat those coffee cherries. They they grab the coffee cherry, they depulp it, and one of the most common processes is the wash process, and it's basically washing those coffee cherries, and after that depulping them through a machine. They just put it in the machine and it comes out depulped with the whole seeds, and after that they dry the seeds. They need to dry those seeds, and the ending result, it's a green raw coffee seed. And after that it's like cooking, you need to roast it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, because I know
You
the
know,
term,
it's always
roasted coffee beans. I don't really know, or roast state, like you were explaining the roast state. So it's just actually cooked.
correct. Yeah, basically that's another word. It's like I always use that analogy because it's like whatever you eat, whatever. If you're gonna cook it, you buy it raw.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, it could be meat or vegetables, you buy it raw, and once you apply heat to it, then it brings you a different flavor.
Yeah.
So the same thing happens with coffee beans. After that process, it's a green raw coffee bean, and after that they have these big roasting machines, or sometimes little machines, it depends on the company, where they roast those coffee beans. They cook it inside an oven, let's say, and then it has different stages. It could be a light roast, a medium
That's just
roast,
cook less and cook more.
Basically, yeah, that's exactly how people understand. That's
Rare,
right. And
medium
it's like
rare, well done.
correct, exactly, and it just brings different flavors to your cup of coffee. That's exactly how I explain to people. It's more understandable.
Yeah. Well, that's crazy. And then so if it's where the black market, so the one that you work for, where do they get their coffee beans from?
We get it from all over the world. It depends on the season.
Yeah. So would you get it already roasted from a different country?
No, we get the raw coffee bean, and then we roast it at the warehouse.
Okay.
So what we do, or what many companies do, if you don't have that connection with the farmer, you either call coffee brokers, and they tell you, "Hey man, the season of this year was Africa, and then we have Kenya, Ethiopia, Burundi, and what we do is, okay, well, can I get a sample of Kenya?"
Yeah.
And they give us some samples from different countries, and we roast them, and we taste them, and after that, either way, we decide what we want to buy.
Are these countries making a lot of money of countries like Australia, America?
If Australia makes a lot of money out of
the
Africa,
one that has Africa, whoever has the coffee beans, are they making a lot of money off Australia and America outsourcing?
To be honest with you, it's a little bit disproportionate. They should make more money.
Yeah.
Because of the kind of price that we are giving outside. But hey, look, it's a business,
yeah.
And because the thing is, there's a lot of hard labor too. It's a lot of hard labor for farmers trying to pick those coffee cherries, but at the same time, there's a lot of companies as well that are trying to repay that hard work by maybe fixing the roads or building schools, some hospitals, things like that. So there's always a repayment for them. But I mean, it's hard labor, but it's good for them to start making some money out of it, because sometimes in Africa or other countries in South America, they actually don't know what to do, even though they have a farm and the source.
Resources, yeah.
Correct. So, but after that, they don't know what to do with that. So, that they have a job after that.
So you mentioned we have like a light roast, medium roast, dark roast. Can you take us through the different like taste scales of coffee?
Yeah. So the last roast that I just mentioned, dark roast, it's a bit of an old school sort of roast. It's pretty old. Exists still, but not as much, especially in this specialty coffee world. Now, for people to understand what's specialty coffee is basically a score that we give that cup of coffee. It's either above 80 points, and also it has different processes that cost a lot of money, time, and care. So basically, you're not
companies giving
correct, because that's right. And that company should have a lot of experience, and usually they have a quality control guy or person, who's usually a Q grader. Q grader is just a person that has a lot of knowledge in taste and quality control. Good palate, basically. We have one at work. So you are basically paying more money for that cup of coffee that it's been well processed, looked after. It's like wine. I mean, you're paying more money for wine because of the history or the process that it's been through. Now, dark roast is pretty old. There's not many coffee shops that work with dark roast. Usually, you would find them a lot in Aldi's or Woolies. Just those coffee beans. There's a way to make them taste okay too, but they're not as popular. Most popular coffee beans, you're going to find them in coffee shops as in light roast or medium roast.
Yeah, that's just a kind of average that people use.
Yeah, well, scientifically, it's been found that when you roast those beans lightly or in a medium sort of way, it retains a lot more flavor rather than overcooking it.
How does the taste change? Does it just lose flavor, or does it go more bitter as you roast it?
Yeah, correct. So it's basically like food. So depending on your food, and also it's subjective, right? Because at the end of the day, what's really tasty for you, it couldn't be tasty for me, or vice versa.
Yeah.
But we try to make the most out of that coffee bean by roasting it. So depending on that's a bit more into detail. Depending on the coffee bean, where it comes from, you need to sort of bring the most flavor out of it. Mm-hmm. And you need to know what kind of density maybe the coffee seed has, or flavor that might give you. And after knowing those variables, you have an idea on how to roast it. And there's always a standard way of roasting those coffee beans. And we roast them all, or those samples, in a sort of standard way. And after that, we cup it. Cupping is a process of making coffee, but without any other element to interfere. As in, from a filter, from a coffee machine or paper filters, in its pure way. Mm-hmm. So we grind coffee, we put water in it, and we drink it like that.
Yeah.
And when we drink it, it's going to give us a bit of an idea of the potential of that coffee flavor, so that we sort of roast it in a light roast, medium, or maybe in between light and medium. It's a bit of a technique depending on the country.
So after all of that work from the farmers and then exporting it, and then the companies doing all this testing and stuff, how important is a good barista? Is it very easy to undo all of that work?
You're going really well in stages. It's true. So after that, obviously, the farmers work, picking those coffee cherries, treating them, and after that, storing them and then sending them to Australia, America, or Europe. They need to be well stored, and after that, when it gets here, they need to be in a cool place. We need to roast it, and after we roast it, then let's say the chef, the barista, has to have knowledge to make that coffee or to cook that food, in a way, the mm-hmm. chef. So it has a big role, I would say, a big role, because look, you can give me, when it comes to food, right, you can give me the most amazing whatever product or piece of steak or whatever food, and you can give me the most advanced kitchen in the world.
Yeah.
But if I have absolutely zero idea about cooking, then I'm not gonna make it well, you know, even though you gave me amazing tools and everything, but your knowledge is very important. The barista plays a big role.
There's a lot to know too, just based off the course that you did. There's so much to know, like the dosing of the shot, the dosing of the water, stamping.
That is true. That is true. You know, and at the end of the day, you need to. It's more generic the way baristas or trainers we make coffee to the public. We try to go on a bit of a balanced flavor, and what are those flavors? You know, people might ask. They're simple. There are three. We want sweetness, acidity, and bitterness. Obviously, the coffee has bitterness. Well balanced in your cup of coffee. So those three elements. The thing is, if you have a lot of bitterness in your cup, then bitterness would overpower sweetness and acidity, and that's not tasty. Then your whole espresso or coffee would taste extremely bitter.
Can you just go through how when those parts come out of the shot?
Yeah. So when you make a shot of espresso, usually a bit more generic. That changes, but it's in between 30 to 35 seconds. Let's say that depends on the recipe of the barista or the company. Let's say 30 seconds because it's more common. The first 5 to 6 seconds are going to be, it could be a pre-infusion. So the water is running through the pack of coffee. Now the first drops that are coming out, it's pretty much salt. It's a salty sort of minerally flavor, and it keeps going through. After that, it comes the sweetness of the coffee, where in many occasions you're gonna feel it right here, the sort of sweetness. And you know, I always say to people, just grab some grapes or fruit, and you're gonna feel that tingling right here. After that sweet stage, the acidity of the coffee is coming out. Depending on the coffee, obviously it could be mild or high acidity, or the extraction as well. So the acidity of the coffee or sourness, it could be, you're going to feel it on the sides of your tongue. Yeah. And that could be a good way of describing wine too. And right in the end, the last extraction, so in the 25th second or about there, is where the bitterness is coming out, where you're going to feel it on the tip of your tongue most of the time.
So obviously the longer the shot is, the more bitter.
Correct. So sometimes if you go to a coffee shop and then you taste that your coffee shop your coffee is extremely bitter, it could be that the barista over extracted the coffee. Maybe it could have been like 35, 40, 47, 50 seconds. I don't know. Yeah. It's basically you burn your food.
Yeah. Which part of it is the caffeine hit?
Oh, the last.
Okay. So if someone just wants a caffeine hit from their coffee, they don't drink it for the taste or anything. They just purely want that caffeine hit. Best to just get the last 10 to 15 seconds.
Yeah, pretty much. And it's going to taste really bitter and, not much flavor, but that's basically where the caffeine is concentrated. And if you want to extract a lot more caffeine out of your coffee, just extract it for longer.
Yeah, that'd be a powerful shot.
Yeah, you'll get a lot of caffeine, but yeah, it's not good. Once I did it and I got really sick. Yeah. Really? After that, it's really good when you're over caffeinated. It's good to eat bananas.
Bananas.
A lot of bananas, yeah. High potassium and just flushes it out. Bananas are very important.
How can you tell if you're over caffeinated?
I was really sick. I couldn't move. My stomach was feeling really. I had stomach ache, and
was it after one certain coffee, or was it just constant?
During a course, actually, I think I had 13 espressos.
Wow.
Yeah, it's stupid. It was bad. Because I didn't have my coffee throughout the day, and when I was running this course, I just go crazy. I went crazy, and I started drinking espressos, and it affected me. Yeah, I had to sit down. I finished the course, but then the students, they loved it, and we said goodbye. But I stayed sitting down for quite a long time, and then the head roaster came and he asked me, "Are you okay?" And I said no. So we had to go and grab some lunch and a lot of bananas. He gave me a lot of bananas, and I got better. Yeah, it's true.
That's crazy. So you've mentioned to me that there's a coffee tournament. I never knew that. A world coffee tournament.
Yeah. So there's many. There's barista competitions. There is brewers competitions, tasters, spirits with alcohol and coffee, and latte art. Those designs that they make with the milk and everything.
Is this like all over one big weekend, or is these separate competitions?
They're separate, but they're all connected, as in worldwide.
Yeah. Is there like a one head tournament or competition that kind of determines the rankings?
Oh yeah. Every year there's one. This year Australia got third.
Yeah. Where is it held?
Different countries depending on where they hold it, but this year was in Italy, Milan.
Wow. Actually,
next year is in Australia. Australia's going to host it in Melbourne. So the whole company is going there to support. Let's see how we go. I don't think I'm competing because you need a lot of preparation, and at the moment I don't have time. But
what happens
I will
in
compete.
Competitions?
Oh, it's pretty simple. So usually the competition that I like is barista competition, because I've been a barista. I am, and I really like it. It takes 15 minutes
for
and
each
in those 15
competitor.
Correct. And in those 15 minutes, you need to make 4 espressos, 4 cappuccinos, and 4 signature drinks for 4 judges. Yeah, in under 15 minutes.
12 coffees, 15 minutes.
Correct. And you have to be extremely clean and organized, and also you gotta talk through it. You gotta explain every single detail of your coffee or the coffee that you're making. Every single flavor, detail, origin, process, mouth feel. What are they gonna taste, feel, what part of their mouth, and it's full on.
You said 4 judges?
Yeah, there's actually 4 judges in front of you.
Yeah.
And 2-3 technical judges around you.
So is it just 4 judges the whole competition, and each country gets their turn?
Yeah, there's different. There's a lot of judges. So they always rotate. There's always 4 judges for one person, and after that, when that person finishes, maybe there's another 4 coming on this side. And
there's no no bias, no like all Australian judges for Australian competitor. They make sure not to do that.
So well, look, maybe at first, because to go to the World Barista Competition, you need to qualify, right?
Yeah.
Every country does it. So the world champion, the Australian champion had to compete in Australia, right? So you compete first regionally, and then after that nationally.
Wow. Yeah. So there's only one.
If you win,
one representative of Australia.
Oh yeah, correct.
And do you represent?
Hugh Kelly.
Which you said you did a competition one time. What was that for?
That was regionals.
Regionals.
Yeah. I couldn't qualify. It was my first time. You get really nervous.
How was that?
It was a great experience. Many after my routine, I was really happy that many people touched my back and they said to me, "Man, that was such a great routine. It was amazing," and blah. And so I thought people were lying to me, but thinking back, I think it was a good routine because it was something personal as well.
Yeah.
You got to share something personal. And the routine that I had was saying my story. So I started drinking coffee with instant coffee.
Yeah.
And it was a bit of a smart ass move, because in this specialty coffee industry, if you say to judges that you drink instant coffee, it's like basically losing the competition straight away. But
Yeah.
I was just saying my story, that how I started, and people liked my story, because I started by saying to the judges that I started drinking instant coffee, and little did I know that back in the day when I was in Peru drinking coffee, it was from a tin, right, from Nescafe, and that coffee was not Peruvian. It was a blend with Colombian coffee and Brazilian coffee. So most Peruvian coffee goes overseas, either to America, Germany, or Australia. And yeah, my story was that, well, ironically, the first time that I had Peruvian coffee was when I came to Australia.
I want to get into a little bit of Australian coffee before we wrap it up. But for someone starting out, what would you recommend they drink, or what coffee beans would you recommend they use to make their own?
For a person that wants to be a barista.
And for a person that just wants to start drinking coffee.
Oh, great. Well, the basic drink is, mochas, but I always say,
like
even,
coffee.
but that's the thing. Yeah. Even a mocha, should be nice and balanced. It's not just putting a lot of chocolate, that is going to overpower the coffee. You're not going to taste any coffee at all. You should be able to taste that nice balance between coffee and chocolate. That's the deal. Then yeah, I mean, coffee, look, I think what people go through many times is that they have a bad experience with coffee. So I believe that imagine that you never had coffee in your life and you want to start tasting coffee, and then you go to this coffee shop where the barista has no idea, zero knowledge, and he's going to give you a really disgusting espresso, over extracted, extremely bitter, or extremely sour. He didn't clean the machine, and of course your experience of coffee is not going to be good. You're going to hate it.
Yeah.
But I would recommend people to go to specialty coffee shops.
Where do you find those, or how do you know if there's one?
Well, there's many. Usually where they have some single origins, that's a giveaway. If you go
you're not
there,
talking about like a Starbucks or.
Yeah, no, that would be with cream or sugar, or those big coffees. It's just a normal specialty coffee shop. Most of them are in the inner west, but you can find them everywhere. Look, I believe that many baristas should get trained. But yeah, usually if you go to a coffee shop and you ask the barista, hey, do you have any single origins for your black coffee? And if he says or she says yes, then usually that's a specialty coffee shop.
Have you got any? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, at the end of the day, that barista should be able to make a balanced cup of coffee, and you should have a good experience making coffee, not saying like, yeah, that's bitter or strong, or
Have you got any ordering tips?
Look, I don't know if I should say this, but look, it's not that good when like if you walk past to a coffee shop and the beans are still there in the hopper, in that grinder, it's not that good. Usually
if you walk past it when it's closed or something.
Yeah, and then you look at the grinder,
mm-hmm.
and they still have the coffee beans inside the grinder
overnight.
Yeah. Usually what happens is like they don't really, it's just knowledge. I think they don't really care that much. And it's basically like, keeping the kitchen really dirty, let's say, in an analogy of a chef. So that's how sometimes I judge coffee shops.
And look for cleanliness and things.
yeah. And I think I told you once I went to this coffee shop in Marrickville Metro. I can't even remember the name, but yeah, the guy, made a coffee because I just felt like a coffee, and then he made me a coffee, and then he didn't clean the machine. After taking the handle, you need to purge and you need to run water.
Yeah.
He didn't do that, and he didn't when he threw the pack of coffee that was already extracted. He didn't clean inside the basket, inside the portafilter. He just put more coffee there. So that would, I think I told you that at
You didn't say anything too. You told me.
work. Yeah, I didn't say that. Yeah, but obviously, I mean, that's because that's part of my personality too. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna, I don't want to get any problems. Maybe
Yeah.
he's gonna tell me, oh, your coffee's snob or whatever. But it's basically like seeing an extremely dirty kitchen, man, and people complain.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. I would recommend people to, just somehow get to drink a very nice cup of coffee, and you'll taste the difference between a bad one and a good one.
Do you have any cafe recommendations? I actually really like McDonald's. I feel like they do a really good piccolo of honey.
McDonald's. Yeah, look, I think we had a conversation there too. That look, I've had coffee from McDonald's that was decent, if you want me to be honest with you, and I've had coffee from McDonald's that was really bad.
Yeah.
So the barista is a big, a hero making coffee. And you can get even cheap coffee beans or whatsoever, but if you don't know how to make them, it's just pointless.
Yeah. Anyway, any recommendations for Sydney area?
Look, Inner West is full of it, full of coffee shops. People should come to our coffee shop in the warehouse in Marrickville.
You guys actually have a cafe?
Oh yeah, inside the warehouse we have a coffee shop, a training room where I train people,
and there'd be great baristas there.
That's right. And the roasting machine too. We roast our coffee. Can I say the address?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, it's 24 Cadogan Street in Marrickville.
What's it called?
Black Market Roasters coffee
Cool.
shop. Yeah.
I'll have to try that out. Got a couple quick questions. We'll just get top of your mind answers. What do you think when I say coffee addiction compared to drugs? Coffee and drugs?
Coffee and drugs.
As
is a necessary evil.
Comparing coffee to a drug, yeah.
It's a necessary evil. Yeah. It's a commercial evil.
Worst things to be addicted to.
Yes. I mean, look, everything with moderation too, man. I told you my story. I had a lot of coffee, man. I felt really bad and I had a terrible stomachache. Terrible. I almost fainted. I was really pale.
That's bad.
Yeah.
If you could only have one more coffee for the rest of your life, where would you get it from?
What coffee shop?
Anyway, coffee shop, certain barista. What coffee would you have?
I would have a double espresso from Kenya.
Wow.
Made by this guy called Daniel. He's a coffee guru, but really humble guy too. Yeah. That he works in Marrickville too, and he's got a little coffee shop in Marrickville.
What's his shop?
What's that? Double Tap.
Okay. Is he Australian?
Double Tap. He's Aussie. Yeah, I think he's got a Greek background.
So why in Kenya? You want their coffee beans?
I love African coffee, but in particular Kenyans. They're very, very fruity. It's a fruit explosion in your mouth. Peachy, sort of cherry, blueberry profile. Wow. It's a juice. You're basically drinking a juice. Yeah. That's cool. If it's well made, obviously.
I'll have to try that. Last one, if you could choose one person in the world to have a coffee with, who would it be?
My boy and my girl.
Yeah, I love that answer.
Yeah, those two. Yeah, he knows that I really like coffee. And funny story, man. He's a he's a little man. He's growing, and we usually go to coffee shops, and
You get him a baby chino?
he doesn't like it. He
Uh-huh.
doesn't like it. He likes hot chocolates or something like that. Once I gave him a baby chino, he was disappointed. He was like, "This is just froth," and I was like, "Yeah, it's
Smart.
true," but and and then I always have my long blocks when I'm with them, and then he goes, "Say, every time I see you, can I have a sip? Because I don't know if it's." So I'm like, "It's you're not gonna like it, man." It's and he
Yeah.
kept insisting, and I gave it to him. He had a sip. It was a bit warm, so he could drink it. And he spat it out, and he goes, "That is disgusting. You should complain." And he was well mad. He was beautiful, but obviously it's black, you know. So
He didn't pick up
he
your
made me laugh.
personality if he wants to complain.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I can see that toy at the back, man. He's asking me for those. They're very popular apparently.
Little Hulk. Hulk's my
Yeah.
favorite. He's my favorite superhero ever since I was a kid.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, my boy asked me for those toys for Christmas. Well, Santa. You know,
Yeah. Cool.
you know that
To get him
rich
one.
man.
On behalf of me, get him one. I like that answer. What age do you reckon he'll get into it, or you'll let him start drinking? 8, like you?
No, I don't think so. I don't know. I think he will start early because his mom drinks coffee too, and I drink coffee too. But I think he'll grow in this coffee culture.
Yeah.
So
I like that.
and he was born here, so yeah, I think he'll start at a young age. Let's say maybe 14, 13.
Yeah. Cool. All right, we'll wrap it up there, man. I really appreciate you coming on. It was nice to meet you, and crazy that how we met. I wasn't even going to go that day, but I thought, oh, you know, I actually like coffee, so I may as well come. So yeah, it's crazy that we're
Oh,
even
really?
here and come together over coffee. Well, thanks for coming on and
That's
sharing your
great,
knowledge.
man. That's great. Thank you for the invite, and yeah, man. It's pretty cool that you're doing this podcast.
Thank you.
They're really cool.